Positive energy. So we finishing off where we left off. We was talking about property, commercial property and stuff like that. I just got off the phone with a friend and I was telling them about what I was talking about. And I was telling them about the future on where everything is going. And they didn't really agree, but it's a dirty job and somebody's got to do it. But the future of business is going to change dramatically. Residential property is fine, but residential property has pretty much maxed out. What I mean by that, I mean that when people was buying houses, houses wasn't that expensive. And so it was known you could buy a home, the value of the home would go up, and you could sell the home and make a profit. But because of inflation and because the value of stuff have gone higher than the salaries, you ain't going to be able to sell houses like that. You ain't going to be able to pay no $350,000 for no house to get $500,000 for it. It ain't going to happen. The bottom is going to fall out of residential property. People going to take a L because they pushed it to the limit. You got to know math. They try to tell you math on basically, you got these people telling you how to make money, and they're trying to tell you to invest in residential property, and they trying to tell you the value that's going to increase on your residential property when you buy your residential property. So they're trying to teach you that you can buy residential property at this price, and in so many years it's going to be worth this much, based on what's been happening. So all their estimations about business when it comes to flipping houses and all that is based on what's been happening. And those that are doing that now and making money, they're at the tail end of that. Yes, it might be happening right now, but that's going to be all over with. You're not going to be able to make no money with no residential property. It's not going to happen. A lot of people are going to go broke, are going to lose a lot of money. So we're going to talk about it. I'm going to break it down. You cannot judge the economy based on the cost of property and what people can sell property for. You have to base the economy based on people's salary. They can't spend no money if they ain't got no money. And salaries are not increasing at the same rate as the cost of living. Anybody that tell you it is a liar. Okay? Salaries are not increasing to the point where a $350,000 house could sell for $500,000. It's not going to happen. The handful of people in America that's making a lot of money don't count. They do not represent American citizens. American citizens ain't making no money. With social media, people want to pretend they making a lot of money so they can look cool. Nobody wants to admit they ain't making a lot of money. This is the reason they buy designer clothes and all that, to look like they making more than what they make. They not making no money. So when you get some weirdo come over here telling you how much they make as if they represent the general public, they don't. They do not represent the general public. I was driving Uber, about 7 years ago or whatever. When I first started driving Uber, I was out there making a whole lot of money. By the time I finished and you would drive downtown Chicago, it would be more Uber drivers than regular cars. So you telling me the whole downtown, when I stop at a light, it's 5, 6, 7 Uber drivers. You telling me we making money? How we making money when every car driving next to me is a Uber and a Lyft? That shows you ain't making no money. So I was just telling somebody that all them stores and stuff, all that shit finna close. So right now we finna talk about residential property versus commercial property and education. That's what we finna talk about. There's finna be a big change with business in the United States. If you planning and you young and you planning to invest and make some money, you better listen to me and you better adjust accordingly. Because it's finna be big changes. And these things cannot be written in no book. These things were not going to be on TV. These things only come with real life observation. As an individual, you have to observe what's going on. And nobody on TikTok gonna tell you. Nobody on Instagram gonna tell you. You have to go outside and you have to observe. And so I was talking to a person, they live in Arizona, and they were trying to tell me something, but Arizona is dead. There's nobody in Arizona. But they kept telling me it's a lot of people in Arizona, and I didn't go outside when I was there and stuff. Ain't nobody in Arizona. Ain't nobody out there. You got some people in Phoenix and stuff like that, but Arizona ain't popping like that. You got people that's getting retirement money and stuff like that and moving out there. They getting their money from somewhere else. They ain't getting their money from there. There's a bunch of retirees moved there, getting their money from somewhere else. Now they do got some economy, but it ain't no booming economy like that out there. It's a whole bunch of desert and rocks and a whole bunch of empty spaces. Anytime you go somewhere, you see a bunch of, and you driving and you just see wide open space, ain't no money like that. Ain't no money like that. So it was like, well, you didn't go nowhere and stuff. I don't got to go nowhere. When I go to your airport, I can see if your airport's a little bitty ass airport, you ain't got no money. That little ass airport, ain't no economy like that out there. Arizona is a place where people got money and come there for a summer home or come there for a winter home. There ain't no money. The money's in the cities. The money's in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, Dallas. That's where the money's at. The big cities got the money. New York got the money. Lots of it. Chicago got a lot of money. So they was like, well, your storage and stuff is closing. Downtown is empty. Yes, downtown is empty because they have to change the stores because the stores they got are not sufficient. So let me explain what I'm saying. When I was younger and I wanted to go out, let's say I want to get a red Kangol. I got to go over on 87th Street to where they got some men clothing store. Go in all them stores, nobody got a red Kangol. Then I got to go to Evergreen Plaza. Nobody got one. Then I got to go to Ford City. And many times I would have to change what I'm aware because I can't find it. So let's forward into the future. We want a lot of specialty items. We go to Amazon. If I want a special oil, if I want organic grapeseed oil, I can't go to no store and find this. Walgreens ain't got it. CVS ain't got it. So there's a whole new market now because we're sophisticated in this 2025 and we want specific items, right? If I want a green button-up shirt, I can go to Amazon. Long as I know my size, I can go to green button-up shirt. Bam. I can find the exact green I want. I can have it delivered tomorrow. Sometimes you can't because no telling where they shipping it from. It could take 6 days. But I ain't got to drive around from store to store to store to find a burgundy shirt, the right color burgundy I want, like you used to have to. So you're saying that if mail order is taken over, which it is, why would I say get residential, commercial property? Because I'm telling y'all to get commercial property, not residential property. Residential property is finna crash. The young generation in the big cities where the money's at, they not gonna live in houses. Nobody gonna live in houses but in small places that haven't developed huge like that. But the future of LA, New York, Chicago, all these places is going to be apartments. Apartment buildings and condominiums. Houses is a thing of the past. Nobody's going to buy a house. Nobody's going to want a house. If you look at this generation, they don't want children. Who in the hell gonna want a 2 or 3 bedroom house but don't want no children? These young people don't want no children. The concept of a house was based on having a lot of children. But my parents and them generation came from Alabama. They did not know nothing about a house. It wasn't until my father came here and got a house and had a house for 50 years, 60 years before he realized that now he got to almost buy a whole new house. He got to pay so much money to get the electrical up done. He on his second or third roof. He's on his 7th painting. Now the trees in the front that went down and ruined the plumbing that go into the house, we call the plumber because the basement is backing up and there's roots and stuff down in there. So now you're looking at 10 grand or whatever to dig up all the way to the front yard and cut the roots that then went through the pipes. So to keep the house, you basically spending all the money you said you was gonna save to fix the house. The price, the concrete is cracked for the sidewalk. You got to get the concrete on the porch, the balance to the concrete crack. You got to get a whole new balance. You got to invest all this money and you don't got no children. I was telling my friend, nobody gonna want no car. Cars is over with. They ain't trying to argue with me. Don't know what they talking about. Nobody's buying cars anymore. Cars are over with. Cars are over with. When I was in Arizona, you could be on the street and you see 10 Waymos driving by themselves with people in them. By the time another 5 or 6 years go, cars will be done. Houses will be done. Right, because we got a friend right now. She's an older lady. She's on a fixed income. She got a bill, and it's an extra $400 a month on her house that she owned already for property taxes. And they charging about a month so it could be paid, so she ain't got to pay no lump sum. And she crying and everything because she don't got it. Where's she gonna get an extra $400? If she don't pay it, they're gonna take her house. They're gonna take her house. So the future is changing. So they say, well, what about commercial property? Why would you say buy it? Let's look at Walgreens. Walgreens is over. Because who gonna go to Walgreens when I can go to Amazon and get special hair oil? I can go to Amazon and get vitamins. I can go to Amazon and get body oil and hair oil. Why would I go to Walgreens and Walgreens ain't got all this stuff? Nobody's going to go to Walgreens and spend no money because Walgreens can only hold so much different stock, whereas Amazon can hold a whole lot of stuff and give me more choices. When I first started searching Amazon and order stuff for Amazon, this is a fact. You would go to Amazon and order, and you would order a product, and they would send you the product. As time go, when you go to Amazon now and look at a product, that product's website is on Amazon. Hold on. We'll do it right now. If you think I'm lying. Watch this. I was trying to tell my friend, people don't be listening. You know what I'm saying? So I just let it go. Let me show you something. Okay, let's look right here. Let's go right here. Garden Life, vitamin C. When I hit Garden Life, vitamin C, let me see if they don't want, right? Watch this. Garden Life, vitamin C, right? Amazon, right? And what happens when I hit this? Where it take you to? Where they website at? They website on Amazon. They website is on Amazon. They don't need their own website. Tell me I'm lying. They advertisements and they got a whole page on Amazon. So I tried to tell my friend that every store is going to be on Amazon. You want Louis Vuitton? It's going to be on Amazon. You want Gucci? It's going to be on Amazon. But they ain't want to listen. Gucci sunglasses, brand. Right now, they got their products. Within a couple years, the Gucci store will be on Amazon. The Prada store will be on Amazon. They will have armored vehicles like to pick up the cash and stuff for high-end merchandise will be delivered in the top security vehicles. And it'll be delivered the same day. The same day. Many items on Amazon is delivered the same day. You can get it the same day. And that's going to keep growing. So why would I tell you to get commercial property? Because commercial property value going to go up, but it's going to be based on different products. So commercial property is going to be for certain businesses that you pretty much have to walk to. You don't want to get no commercial property and try to sell anything that could be sold on Amazon. Commercial property is going to be for things like when you have problems with your phone, you can't do that on that. You can't mail that in. You're going to have to walk into the T-Mobile place. You're going to still have to walk into Starbucks. You're going to still have to walk into restaurants and things like that because your food is better when you pick it up there or eat it there. By the time they deliver it to you, it loses something. And so the future of residential property is going to be to get residential property right where a lot of people live in apartments. Because the future is going to be apartments. It's not going to be houses. Houses is over with. The housing market is done. People are projecting the housing market based on my generation, based on my daddy and them, the Great Migration, based on the era where most people had 2 children. The second most people had 5. When I was growing up, hardly nobody had 1 child. Let me repeat. When I was growing up, hardly nobody had 1 child. So that created lots of businesses. That created the need for homes and all that in schools. Now, a lot of people don't want no children. They don't want no children. We have a lot of 20 and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds with no children. None. I would bet that the average child now is 1. 1. So housing market is dead. Nobody want a house because nobody got no children to raise no house. What you want with a 3-bedroom house and you ain't got no children? Houses is way out here and the jobs is here downtown. So you got to drive to the job. Nobody wants to drive to the job. Everybody now wants to work right where the jobs are. And so all the upward and mobile cities are building mad apartments downtown. And the major business district for every big city is downtown. That's where the money's at. There is no money in any other part of a city like it is downtown. The biggest money transactions in Chicago is downtown. The biggest money transactions in New York is downtown, Manhattan, and down in there. That's where the money's at. The most jobs is downtown. The dream of places like Arizona is to be like this. So anybody based in Arizona on today is lost. Because the future of Arizona, you looking at it. The future of Dallas, that's what they want to look like. You name me any city in this country, and this is the future on how they want it to look. This is the plan for all the cities. So when they say 15-minute cities, they talk about this. Where you can get from one side of this. See, they make you think 15-minute cities is small, but 15 minutes is a long time. And if you look at one side of this downtown Chicago to the other side, you're talking 5 minutes, 7 minutes. It don't even take 15 minutes. It don't take 15 minutes to get on Lakeshore Drive up north, the north side of downtown to get to Roosevelt. It don't take you 15 minutes. It's gonna take you 5, 7 minutes. If that. If ain't nobody out there, it might take you 4 or 5 minutes. This is a 15-minute city. With the streets done right, and the one-way streets and everything done right, and the traffic lights, you can move around this whole downtown within 15 minutes. You ever see they show you a small little thing to my 15-minute city. They trying to brainwash you. This is your 15-minute city. You're looking at it already. Let me show you. I ain't telling you no make-believe stuff. I'm telling you the facts. Let me show you. They trying to make you think this is a 15-minute city. Let me show you. Playing games with your mind. They make you think this is a 15-minute city. That's not a 15-minute city. That's a joke. They lying. They lying. That's not a 15-minute city. They're just playing with your mind. This is a 15-minute city. This is the future of a 15-minute city. And this is where everybody work. Majority of people in every city gonna work here. All the jobs are gonna be here. And it's gonna take you 2 or 3 minutes to get to work here. And I drove Uber downtown, and I took people to work, and I took them to work in 4 minutes. Because they work right downtown. Took no longer than 6 minutes to get them to work. You ain't going to need public transportation too much, because this is where you're going to live, and this is where you're going to work. And if you don't live here and work here, you're going to be a peon living out somewhere, but you want a good job, making a good money, you're going to live down here. This is where you're going to live at. Ain't going to be no more living way out on the south side of Chicago and driving on no damn ride to get down here. They ain't finna do that. They finna move the majority of their workers right downtown. The majority of their workers gonna be right here. That's the future. Because the young generation don't want no children, they don't want no houses, and they don't want to be stuck. A house makes you a slave. I'm giving you information that I'm getting from the young generation. Young whites are telling me this, not young blacks. The people that's really in the system, moving and shaking. This is what young whites are telling me. Young white adults, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. This is what they're telling me. And I'm telling you. The young white population are telling me they don't want no house. Because they say that a house makes them a slave. And they say that when the city gets you to buy a house with a 20 or 30-year mortgage, you can't leave. So now the businesses can exploit you because they know you can't leave. So they can treat you like dirt and you got to stay at this job till you retire because you got a mortgage. This is what they telling me. Hey, Goshen, I be telling them what somebody else told me sometimes, and they try to argue with me, and I keep telling them somebody told me this, and I accepted the knowledge. Because they wasn't lying. I be around a lot of people. I'm not your typical black dude. I be around all kind of people. I'm 67 and I be in a room full of 20-something-year-old white dudes and their girlfriends. And because my mind is open, they'll talk to me. They're not going to talk to nobody like to argue. They're not going to talk to me if I'm challenging them. So I just shut up. I don't challenge them. You feel me? I learned this driving Uber, and I also learned this because I make friends. I make friends. I talk to people. And so I get invited in places that other people don't get invited. I get invited in homes and different shit like that. Because you gotta have an open mind. So I learned some stuff with Uber, but I learned something from the people that I be around. So it's like, for example, if I got a rapper, I take him to the studio, right? And the engineer be doing my music. Once the rapper get through rapping, now the music got to be mixed. I'm the CEO of the record label, so I'm the one talking back and forth to the young white dude that own the studio. The artist is not really dealing with him. I'm the one dealing with him. I'm the one building the rapport. And so when I'm building the rapport with this young white dude on the board, we become friends. So it might get to a situation where he mixed a song for me and he already got on the hard drive, but he ain't at the studio. So he tell me come to his house and get it, or come to his apartment and get it. So of course, when I go to his apartment to get it, he got a little equipment in there. So he's showing me and I'm listening to stuff. So I'm in his apartment. I'm in his condo. And once I'm in his condo, it becomes convenient to always go to his condo. So now I'm in there with a lot of his friends and shit. And then I ask questions. I be curious. When I drove Uber, I asked a lot of questions. That's why I asked the young white girls. I took them to a building, a really high-end building. It was 4 of them. And they told me, they said, hey, we all live there. We pay $700 a month. It's $2,800. We all pay $700. We got 2 bunk beds. We ain't never at home anyway. We young. We always at our boyfriends. We got all the amenities and everything. And if one of us just want to move, they move and we bring somebody else in. Right? So they began to tell me, these white dudes, they began to tell me, and I had 2 groups of people tell me this. I had some people in my Uber tell me this, and I had some whites at their apartment. I'm putting the 2 stories together on what they was telling me. And what they was telling me is they no longer want homes because as far as making money in their field of expertise, they don't want a city to pimp them. They don't want a city to hold them hostage for a certain price at a job because they can't leave because they got a mortgage. They want to go to the highest bidder, and whoever's paying the most, they go. And if they in Chicago and they getting $160,000 a year, and a business in New York want to pay them $190,000, they gone. But they said if they had a house, they can't go. Because now they gotta wait for the house to sell. They gotta have a mover. They gotta move all this stuff. They don't do that. They have an apartment. They have stuff there. And when they get called for a job, they leave all that shit for whoever there. Because they telling me it's cheaper to buy it over than to transport this stuff, leave it there, let somebody else come and pay your portion of the rent, go to New York, get the new job, get in good with the new job, then send for Jeffrey and tell Jeffrey, I got a position here. So now Jeffrey can leave the $160,000 and come get the $190,000 like you. And they transfer their friends. Goshen to tell you he in New York. They go wherever the bag is at. And they go get in, and then they send for the rest of their friends to come into the company. And if they go to New York and they get $190,000 for a couple years, and Dallas want to order them or give them $250,000, they gone. I said, hell no. In the car, I got to make sure which story who told me. With the ones told me that in the car, I said, what you do with your car? And they started laughing. They said, we don't got no car. These is geniuses. These ain't dumb people. They said, we don't have no car. They said a car note is this much a month. You got to get a city sticker. You got to get a license plate. You got to drive around the block to park, so you're getting tickets. They said, why would we get a car and pay all that money when we can hop in the Uber, go to the club, pull right in front of the club, let us out, go party, come back, get an Uber, drop us back off, and that's the only transportation money we got to spend. The rest of the time, we'll take the L train or the bus if we got to go somewhere. Why would we pay all that money for a car? They said, why would we pay for a car that's parked 2 days outside the house, parked from Friday to Sunday if we don't go nowhere, and we paying for the car, and we got to move the car. We come out, the street sweeper came, and we didn't know they was finna clean the streets. That's $75. They said you can get $75 tickets 4 times in a couple months during the summer where they doing street cleaning where you didn't see they doing street cleaning because you was in the house. So I said, when you do the math, and the white dude did the math for me. If you do the math, what we paying pennies. They say what you paying for a car note and car insurance every month, that'll get us an Uber for a whole year almost. I said, are you kidding? He said, no, at least 8 months. He said, what you paying in 1 month for a car note and insurance. He said, do the math. He said, a car note is going to be what, $200-300 a month? At a good price, $190. Insurance, if you get a cheap insurance, maybe you can get it down to $90. So what's that, $280? He said, guess how many Ubers you could get for $280? An Uber going to cost you $13, $15, $20. You ain't going that many places. He said, you're not going to take no $300 worth of Uber in no month. You're only going to take Uber here and there. Other than that, you're going to take the bus, you get a bus card. And then we live in the area where the store's over there, the vegan restaurant over there. In the summertime, we can walk. We can ride our bikes. We're not paying this extortion for the car registered, for license plates, for parking. They say, okay, you want to go to a concert. You buy 3 tickets for you and your friends. $75 a ticket. It's a good show. That's $150, that's $225. You take an Uber to the show, that might cost you $20, might cost you $30. That's $300. He said, now if you buy the same ticket, $75 each, $225, and you go to a parking lot, the parking lot gonna cost you some serious money. And the parking lot might be full. You might gotta drive down to the other parking lot. When the show is over, you gotta come out the show. You gotta walk all the way to your car. You gotta get in your car. Well, we just call. As soon as we walk out the front door, the Uber's right in front. We at home already. And he said, when you get the car and you get home and you go in the house, the car's still charging you. The car note's still charging you. The insurance still charging you. The city sticker. He said you got to divide the city sticker, Pharaoh. If it costs this much, how much is that a month? Posey came here and he didn't know nothing about Chicago. He seen a parking lot with open space. He parked, he came back there and took his car. I think they hit him like $275 or something to get his car. So they was giving me real game. So I said, wow. So I said, we don't waste no money for no car. He said, a car is waste of money. So my friend was telling me, well, you got to have a car in Arizona. So I'm like, well, why I seen all them Waymos then? You don't need no car out there. You don't need no car nowhere no more. And this is only 2025. How much you going to need a car by 2030? I don't care if you're in Arizona, where. You ain't going to need no car. They're going to have service to pick you up. And so with all of these people going to move into these big cities, what you going to do with residential property? Because residential property, the value going to go up, but nobody's salary going to go up enough to keep up with the price of residential property. And when you buy the residential property, where your job going to be? There's never no jobs that could pay for the house that's close to the house. If you look at everywhere houses is, there's no money where the house is at. The house is way over here. Your job is way over there. That's why so many people working from home. So with this young generation not having a lot of babies, Residential property, the residential housing market is finna crash. And the money's going to be on commercial property. Commercial property, that's where all the apartments are at. That's going to be the money. Because people are going to still want to go out on an outing, but they're going to want to go to businesses they can walk to. So the future is going to be businesses buy all these apartments where they can walk to. Now do the math. If you got a restaurant, if you got a vegan restaurant, and it's by a housing area, how many people can come compared to apartments? There's more people in apartments than there is on how many blocks? One tall apartment, how many blocks would that be of people? So these buildings here, guess how many blocks it would take for all these people to live? Blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. You cannot build enough houses in this area for this many people to live in. You're stacking them up so you can squeeze more people per square mile because you're stacking them up. If you stack them this way, so now if you're stacking people up, you're taking less room, so you got more room for what? You got more room for businesses and you got more customers. So look at this business and look at the building behind it. Now, people live there. That's more people than if that was a house. So how many potential customers, if there's 20 buildings like the one behind it down there, how many people is that compared if it was 20 houses? That's more money. So the future investment for Black Americans is commercial property and education. Put your money into education for your babies so they can be doctors, lawyers, nurses, technicians, electricians. That's where the money going to be. And in residential property, no. Commercial property. Commercial property and education is the future for your investment. If you want to invest, if you got children, you got to push education and you got to make them study. They can't just study their schoolwork. They got to study the business world. What type of people are they looking for? What are they going to school to be? And what jobs is it available for that type of expertise? This is the future. You can't just send your baby to school. You got to find out who hiring. What's the business that's hiring? That's why lawyer is always good because people always get in trouble. Medical is always good because people always getting sick. And there's other technical skills. There's other paperwork, being able to read certain paperwork, like insurance. If you're a nurse or whatever, and you can go work for Blue Cross Blue Shield or one of them companies there, you need a certain skill to be able to know what are all these medical terms that these people got these policies. You can't sell no type of policy for medical insurance if you don't know what the medical, you don't know anything about medical. You ain't gonna be able to help these people. You're gonna have to know these terms to file this different paperwork and all that. This is the future. Residential property, the bottom gonna fall out of it. Residential property is no good. Residential property is only good if you're having a lot of children. But with so many people, LGBTQ and gay and don't want to have babies, and so many people don't want to get married, and so many people don't want to have children, what the hell are you going to do with a house? There ain't going to be nobody to buy it. That's why you got these scam artists telling you on Instagram and all that, they can show you how to flip houses. You know why? Because there's a whole lot of damn houses to get. You're going to get the house, but are you going to flip the house? No, because it ain't nobody to move in the goddamn house. So they scamming you to get you try to buy a property to flip it. If they can't get nobody to buy the property because they ain't got no children, they ain't got no family to live in it, they're going to make you a sucker and to have you buy it, making you think you can flip it and make some money. But you ain't going to make shit. You're going to be stuck with it. Ain't nobody going to buy that house from you. And you're going to go out here and buy all them houses. You're going to be stuck with them. Then you're going to get that fat ass, you're going to have to pay all the property taxes on them and you're going to lose them all. This is a fact. These is all facts. This is factual facts. So some dude, make-believe arguing me, don't know what he's talking about. I'm from outside. I know what I'm talking about. The buying property era was the 90s. And all these brothers was out here slinging and hustling. And what did they do? They all went and bought property. All my friends that was hustling, get money, went and bought property. And they lost all that property. Some of them are broke. And it failed. Many of them were slumlords because they bought property. They ain't know nothing about maintaining the property. Anybody my age or anybody in the streets will tell you. In the 90s, when dude was hustling and slanging, they all thought the come up was to buy apartment complex and all that. They all lost. I have friends buy a whole bunch of property in Harvey, and Harvey, Illinois is now trash. Nobody, they lost all that money. I know brothers that bought apartment units and people moved in and didn't want to pay the rent. And when they went to evict them, the people stopped up all the sinks and toilets and ran the water and flooded the whole building. So all the neighbors downstairs there one day and water just started running in everybody else's apartment because the people upstairs got mad you put them out. And they just left and they turned on all the water. Damaged the floor, the ceilings, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage from one tenant. Now the other tenants move. Now he just abandoned the building. Who know about them apartments on Dixie Highway in Harvey across from the police station? I can have real testimony come over here and tell you. What y'all know about them apartments that the drug dealers bought and fixed it up across the street from the Harvey police station? How did that work out? Now Harvey got all them abandoned houses and all of that. So imagine trying to do that in an era where nobody having no children like that. Then ain't no jobs in Harvey. So if you live in Harvey, you live in Dixmoor, you live in Calumet City, you got to drive all the way downtown or you got to get some bullshit job around there. You got to get some trash job because all the good jobs are going to be downtown or you're going to have an expertise. Other than that, you ain't going to get no job. And you can come to Chicago if you think I'm lying, and you can meet me, and we can go to the Dan Ryan Expressway early in the morning, 7 in the morning, and we can park on the side of the expressway, and we can walk up to the fence, and you're going to see thousands of cars headed downtown. It's called rush hour because all the jobs is downtown. That's why it's rush hour. There's some jobs in other places, but the heart of any city is its downtown. That's the financial stronghold. That's where the money flipping. That's where all the courts is at. That's where all the lawyers is at. That's where all the doctors is at. That's where all the nurses is at. That's where all the financial experts is at. Downtown. That's where all the federal employees is at. That's where all the state employees at. That's where all the city employees at. Downtown. That's money. There's a lot of money in City Hall. There's a lot of money in the state building. There's a lot of money in the clerk's office, the City of Chicago clerk office. There's a lot of money down there where you go to pay your traffic tickets. That's where the money's at. The money's right here. So I had a friend say, well, Chicago State and all them stores is closed. That's because those type of stores closed. Now people got to listen to me. The buildings are still valuable, but they ain't figured out what type of stores to put there. The type of stores you used to have, that's over with. Clothing stores, over with. Everybody gonna order their clothes online. So I had a friend tell me, say, well, you can't order clothes online because when you order your clothes online, what you gonna do if it don't fit? Remember I told you first, you're gonna be able to go to Amazon. You're gonna be able to order a dress. If you order that dress in the morning, right, before 9 o'clock in the morning, that dress will be to you by 2 o'clock. If that dress don't fit and you call them back or you text them back on Amazon, they will come back and get that dress by 4, and the next size will be to you by between 7 and 9 o'clock at night. Remember I said it first. And all these cities are going to have big Amazon warehouses with all that stuff. The stuff they don't have, it'll show you. So it'll be like, you can get this today. Or it'll be like, you can get this tomorrow. If it's far away, then it's going to tell you can get it in 3 days. But you're going to be able to get a lot of stuff the same day you order. This is the future of Amazon. Remember I told you. And because they're going to have all these people in these buildings, the value of commercial property is going to go through the roof because the commercial property often will have residential property with it, right? So you got buildings like this that's flat, right? But you have a lot of commercial property that have places to live on top of it. And that's going to be the money. That's going to be your best investment in the future. Okay? These are the people that's going to make a fortune. Not the people buying houses. The people that's going to make a fortune is the people that's getting both money. They're going to be getting the business downstairs is going to be paying, and then they're going to have apartments upstairs, and they're going to make all the money. And when I say all the money, I mean all the money. All the money they're going to be getting. I'm giving y'all a real game right now. Listen, because they don't want Black Americans to know this. They don't want foundational Black Americans or none of you Black people to know nothing what I'm telling you. These type of buildings is where the money gonna be. Where you got stores downstairs, and look at all these apartments upstairs, and look at all this business on both streets going down. So you're in a residential area. Many of these buildings, if you look to your left down that street, and if you look down the right on that street, these older buildings, they're going to tear them down, and they're going to build big old, taller apartment buildings. So there's going to be a whole lot of buildings. Like if you look to your left and you look down that street, you see way down there, you see that tall building? Them buildings is going to come all the way towards this way. It's going to be a bunch of buildings just like that. You see that building right there? Before you get to the top, it's a lot of people live in that building. That's customers. And so now if you got this building right here in the middle, you can have at least 2 or 3 businesses downstairs, and you got how many apartments to live in upstairs? This is the investment they don't want to tell you about. And the only reason a lot of these are still empty because of COVID. But when they bounce back from COVID and they really bring this cashless society at the baby stages, because it ain't going to be all the way cashless, but it's going to be heavy debit and credit card and stuff like that. It ain't going to be the mark of the beast right away. That's going to be where the money's at. Houses ain't going to be no money. Many of the areas where so many of the houses are going to get dilapidated. They're going to build apartments even where the houses used to be. Because they ain't going to be able to sell them houses. Here in Chicago, we got houses. They're not going to be able to sell them. Where I grew up at, where our family house is at, once that last group there raised their children, ain't nobody going to move in them houses. Them houses are going to be empty. Ain't nobody going to move in them houses. This is why they got to close so many of the schools or try to figure out what to do with the schools. Because they built all these schools in Chicago for the baby boomers, but now y'all ain't having no babies. So they got empty schools everywhere. Because you ain't having no babies like that no more. And houses is based on babies. Right? So houses is only based on babies. So houses were for you to have babies where the babies could go to the near school. That's what they was for. They was for just to raise a family. They served a purpose, but they only serve a purpose when you having children. If you don't have children, then the house don't serve no purpose. If you got children, if you got 2 or 3, 4 children, and you got a house, you got a front and a backyard, you got somewhere for the children to be, you got a place for their bicycles and stuff, you have a park nearby for them to play, and you have other children in the area, so the whole area is a play area for the children. Now with the new generation, you can't comprehend. You ain't got no babies. So what I'm talking is over your head. When I came up, the houses were like places in the middle of a playground. When you would drive down our street, it's a lot of us. So it's some girls right here on the block. They playing double dutch. Then there's some girls right here. They hopscotch. Then there's some boys playing running bases in the street. Then there's some boys riding their bike up and down the sidewalk in the street. So it was like the houses is here and the playground is right there in front of the house. And then there's so many children, there's a playground on the next street and a school on the next street. So the houses were very valuable if you having children. Your generation, you ain't having no children. You understand? You don't have no children. When I was coming up, a whole lot of families had 5 children. Hardly nobody had 1 child. On our block, it was only 1 lady that had 1 child. Michelle was the only child on the whole block. Nobody had no 1 baby. Everybody had 2, 3, 4, and 5 babies. Everybody. Had 2, 3, 4, and 5 babies. Nobody had no 1 baby. Nobody. Nobody had 1 baby. So houses was very valuable. But now, what you gonna do with a house? You ain't got no children. Who you gonna sell it to? Nobody want to be stationary and be in that city until they retire. Google said the average American family has 1.9 children, and that number is declining. Exactly. And a whole bunch of young people is gay. So they ain't gonna have no babies. We got a whole bunch of weirdo women talking about they don't want no children. So what you gonna do with a house? Nothing. A house ain't no good without 2, 3, 4 children. A house ain't no good. A house is a waste of money if you ain't got no babies. You just have been in a house walking around looking like a fool. What you got a house for? You ain't got no family. What are you gonna do with a house? So when it comes to people telling you to buy houses and the price of houses going up, how's the price of houses gonna go up? How you gonna buy a house for $250,000 and sell it for $350,000 if ain't nobody making no more money? Where this money gonna come from? People's salary ain't increasing like that. How you gonna increase the rate of the price of houses without increasing the rate of the salary that people making? People's salary ain't increasing like that. Make it make some sense. Show me what people's salary is increasing like that where you can get $350,000 for a house you pay $250,000. Get it from where? At the time America built all that housing, a house costs $250 a month. Okay? So a house costs $250 a month. My daddy bought his house. His mortgage was $250 a month. So you could make some money. You could save some money. But when my daddy bought his house, it was 1962 when black people had a lot of babies. A lot of babies. So back in then, you wasn't no debt slave because the house was cheap. You had some children and it benefited. It benefited. You benefited from the house. It was a place to raise a family and have some babies. But my father paid $250 a month for rent. By the time he got in his 80s, his property taxes was almost $250 a month. So he said, once you own a house, he told me, my daddy told me, he said, boy, listen, you never own the house. He said, when we came up, you thought you owned the house. But he said, you never, ever own a house. So don't ever think you're going to buy a house to own a house. He said, you don't own it. He said, because if you owned it, how can they take it from you? And if you don't pay your property taxes, they can take it from you and they can raise your property taxes and rob you. I got another white friend. He is an engineer making a lot of money and he's struggling because his property taxes. Every time I'm around, he make a joke. He said, I should have been a doctor. I said, bro, you're an engineer making a lot of money. He said, they robbing me, Pharaoh, for the house. They robbing me. They robbing me blind because of the property taxes. And they don't show you where the money from the property taxes went. Nothing in your area, that money don't be spent for nothing. They never show you how they allocate all that money they take from. A police officer lived across the street from my father. He said his property tax was $10,000 a year. I said, damn. 10,000. And they don't charge everybody the same property taxes. So you don't ask your neighbor, how much they charging you? They'll charge this one this, they'll charge you that. It's not no standard. It's all kind of weird stuff they be doing. To rob you. So when you see all these economic gurus trying to tell you the way to make money is to buy homes and all that, they talking crazy. Especially if you're going to buy them in the middle of nowhere, one of these cities that they talk about going to grow and all that, you're going to lose everything you got. Seriously. They're going to rob you with your disaster insurance and stuff like that. Right now in Florida, all them people losing their homes because they can't pay their insurance for them hurricanes and them floods and all that. They ain't got it. They ain't got the money. People all across America is refusing to pay insurance. They said they'll just save the money and fix the house they sell. Right? Home ownership is 100% a financial trap. Buying land is a ripoff. Buying land where? They'll show you the successes, but they won't show you the failures. If you buy the land, what's the value of the land? What's going to happen around the land to raise the value of the land? Or is it just some land? Because if I buy some land and they ain't trying to build nothing or nothing over there, not only will the price necessarily not go up, the price might go down. How much money can you make off some land? You can't make shit off of land. Where are you going to buy the land from and how you going to make money? Because if some land they had was valuable, why it's for sale? If it was for sale, wouldn't people own it already? If there's some land and it's valuable, why rich people ain't bought it already? So if let's say you 30, 35 years old, 40 years old, you buy some land. You own it. 10 years go by, you 50. 10 years you go by, you 60. 10 years you go by, you 70. Is it going to be worth something? To who? Who want to buy it? If it ain't no developer, you just gonna be sitting on some land for generations and generations. It ain't gonna be worth nothing. What it's gonna be worth? So they'll show you somebody that bought some land and then the value went up and sold it. They'll be like, yeah, I bought some land and sold it, but they don't tell you that. Oh, they wanted to be a space administration building here or something like that. They just try to make you think they're just buying land. No. There's junk land all over this country that ain't worth a goddamn. That's why we don't want land for reparations. We don't want no land for reparations. When you saying farming, who the fuck gonna get out there and do the farming? And is anything gonna grow there? You can't just go buy no land and say you're gonna farm it. Black farmers is losing their farms. So what make you think you could be a new farmer? Huh? You know how much it costs to farm? A fortune. You know how much you lose farming when you get a bad crop? A fortune. How you gonna make money farming when you competing against industrial farming? How you gonna match their prices for what they got? And who gonna do the work? Who gonna go out there and farm it? And have you farmed before? Because I grew. Y'all think growing is easy, huh? Y'all think growing is easy? Farms ain't the cornerstone and shit. All that food being shipped in from industrial farms. A farm can't feed nobody. A farm that you'll buy will not produce enough food to feed nobody. And the amount of work it'll take for you to get your farm off the ground, if you're 40 years old, it'll be your grandson. You sell watermelons every summer and tell these people how much real work y'all put into it so they don't think you just went and you just started selling watermelon. It took years of work, didn't it? Tell them the truth. If you're going to tell them something, Mr. Man Over Matter, tell them the truth. Tell them how much money you invest and how hard you got to work to grow them watermelons. Tell them. Tell them they all can do that. Because you're talking like they all do. Let me see you tell them they can all buy land and grow watermelons. You know they can't. That's why I ain't bring that up. They can't grow no watermelons. My mom and daddy from Alabama. I spent every summer in Alabama. Uniontown, Alabama. Uniontown, Alabama. I lived in Hawaii where everybody grew weed. And at harvest time, you had a whole motherfuckers with a whole bunch of weed and didn't know where to sell it. Didn't have nobody to buy it. Because when you get the watermelons, if you don't get rid of them, they're going to go bad. So if you ain't got nowhere to get rid of them, you're going to go bad. How much you want for each watermelon? How much is going to cost for transportation? How much did you pay for fertilizer and all the things to grow it? How much work did you put in to grow it? And how much money you end up with at the end? And at the end of the day, it's going to be just like a regular slave job. At the end of the day, you're not going to make nothing. You're going to have enough money to grow some more watermelons. At the end of the day. And if you have a bad season where it don't rain and stuff like that, you in the hole. And so that ain't nothing I would advise you to do, because you got to really work your ass off. And that's a whole nother conversation. I can have that conversation, but for the average person watching me, they ain't built like that. So that's why I'll give y'all suggestions that I know, it's like make believe. Y'all ain't no farmers. So I'm not going to suggest you buy no land. You understand? If you're going to buy land where the money already at. You want to buy land here. You want to get these buildings. You want to get land in these highly populated areas where the population will constantly grow. If you want to invest in land, you need to invest in land where people are going to move to, not land where people are moving from, because who wants their land? So you need to be buying property in Philadelphia, Detroit. Look at Detroit. They was giving that property away. Now they building this big old luxurious setting in Detroit that if you would have owned that land right now, you'd be rich. You want to buy land in Detroit, in New York, in Chicago, commercial property in those areas, in Los Angeles. This is what you want to buy now, because pretty soon you ain't going to be able to get it. Hold on. You want to buy land. Hold on. Look. Y'all think I'm kidding? Look at this. Landmarks of luxury and living. The Midtown's rising star. At Midtown Detroit, the long-awaited Mid project begins its construction in early 2025. Originally announced in 2019, right? This is what they planning to put. A huge development. Innovative entertainment and hospitality. J.W. Marriott at Water Square. Music hall expansion. Affordable housing. Amsterdam lofts. They finna put like millions and billions of dollars into this area in Detroit. Right? With this new project. Where somebody could have bought that when Detroit had failed. Because everybody's moving to the city. Everybody. So if you would have bought commercial property in Detroit, and if you could find any now, you better grab it now. Same for Milwaukee. Same for Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, Miami, St. Louis, any major city. all the movement is going to be towards the downtown areas. The suburbs will be like deserts. Back in the day, here in Chicago, all of the Europeans in Chicago moved to the suburbs. And when they moved to the suburbs was dead. It wasn't worth nothing. And they had to be in long transits, take transportation forever to come to work in Chicago. They still had to come to Chicago. So now them whites is finna come back to Chicago, and they're going to try to move you black people out to the suburbs. So that whites are going to leave the suburbs. They're going to come to the city, and they're going to have gentrification in the city, and they're going to displace you out there in the boondocks where it never popped off and it never will. And they're not going to be taking no transportation to get to work. They're going to work right here. I got friends that work right there. They live right there, and they go right to work right there. I got people I know downtown. They walk out their building. They walk to the Chicago River. They take the riverboat, and the riverboat take them down, and they get off at the next cross section, and they get off and they go to work right off the riverboat. They have river taxis in Chicago. I'm giving y'all game. Listen. Y'all listen to me. I'm giving you game. In Chicago, they have river taxis to take you to and from work. Do you understand what I'm telling y'all? Because the suburbs is over with. Everybody wants to live downtown, and they're going to put all the jobs downtown. And even if you work from home, you're going to still live downtown. And it ain't going to be no money if you ain't downtown. And then from downtown, the money going to be, you got downtown, then you got 25th, then you got 35th, right? So remember I told y'all when I was driving Uber, I lived on what? I lived on 31st. I lived on 35th, then I lived on 31st. That's how I was getting paid. I was making a lot of money driving Uber. That's why I didn't mind telling nobody. Because I was right there at Prairie Shores, and then I was at the other one right down the street, the other building, and I could be sitting right here like this, watching TV and turn on my Uber app. And my Uber app go do, and then I just go, get in the elevator, go get in the car, and pick up somebody right there and take them. I'm getting work from the house. I'm dropping off people all around where I live at, where I can go home and use the washroom. I can go home and have lunch. I can get downtown in 2.5, 3 minutes. I'm downtown getting money. Whereas when I lived out in the 116th, it's going to take me a half an hour to 45 minutes to get downtown. Take me a half hour to get downtown when I could be right here and get downtown in 60 seconds. 60 seconds, I'm downtown. I'm downtown in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 120 seconds. I'm downtown. 120 minutes. No, seconds. 120 seconds, 180 seconds, I'm downtown. By the time I get in my car. I'm giving y'all game. Listen, This is the future if you want to be a part of where the money's going to be. This is where the money's going to be. I had a friend was talking to me, and I understand they was trying to hold up where they live at, but ain't going to be no money. The money there is going to be just like the money here. Because you can see they trying to develop it and bring it up, and it ain't going to be like what it is where they at. But this is how people get to work. This is the taxi. And you see, where they live is right across all these buildings where they live. So you see all the buildings, people live there, or they banks, or people live there. You see these stairs, you see the bridge, and then you see in front of the bridge, you see that green going down, that's the stairs. So you come down the stairs and you catch the taxi, and the taxi will take you right down there. And see, this is a bridge, this is a street. The next bridge is a street. The next bridge is a street. So all you do, the taxi gonna take you, you're gonna get off, you're gonna go up them stairs and walk right to work. You're gonna go up them stairs, you're gonna walk right to work. You saving how much money? In the summertime, you just get out and walk to work. So instead of it taking you, instead of you gotta leave home, it'll take you 45 minutes to get to work. You get to work in 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, you at work. Right? Exactly, Goshen. So you at work. So you got to count that money you saving, that you burning all this gas that come from Maple Park, Morgan Park, from the south side of Chicago, or far on the north side of Chicago. How much money you save if you live right there? You saving a fortune. You saving a fortune. And so down there now they got Whole Foods, they got grocery stores, they building it just like if it was out in the neighborhood. You got everything you would have in a neighborhood, but it's right downtown. In the long run, you saving money. You saving money. You saving thousands of dollars in gas. You saving thousands of dollars in property taxes. You just pay your rent. You don't need no ADT system. It's a doorman. You got to get buzzed in. You can't break in my apartment because it's a neighbor there, it's a neighbor there. Somebody asked me about making noise. Can't nobody hear you in them apartments? You have to be, when you at home, you're not making that much noise. You watching TV or you listening to some music. So when somebody said, do I want to live without making a lot of noise? Nobody's making that much noise, man. Not like that. Not all day. They might make some noise for 30, 20 minutes or something, but nobody's. When we lived in the house, we wasn't making no noise. We had a house my whole life, and we wasn't making the type of noise that would disturb no neighbors. Your mama ain't letting you make all that noise up in there. If you wanted to make a lot of noise, she'd tell you go outside and play. These buildings got parks. They have a whole floor that's a park. They got parks made into the buildings and made into the infrastructure around there. They got outside grass, tables, and everything. They got places where your children can go play right there at the building. They got, you go to the 7th floor, it's a dog park right in the building. Because a lot of people got dogs. They have a place to walk your dog right in the building. They have an open space that they keep sanitary for the dogs. Facts. They have everything you can think of. Some of them, they'll come get your clothes. They got cleaners. You got washer and dryer right there in the apartment. The apartments is nice too. It's new shit. It's the new way they build them. It's really the best building. It's the best living. Because when we lived on the south side of Chicago, if you wanted to go and do something exciting, you drove downtown. But now you just live downtown. So your whole life is exciting. You can always be in the action. You can always be enjoying something. You can always go take a riverboat cruise. You can always go and get on the bikes. You don't own no bike no more. They got the divvy bikes. You go out, rent the bike, drive it, go back and park it. Now, if you want to, you can have a bike. And a lot of them have their bikes and they got them hung up in their apartments. You go take your bike and you ride around, you come back. But you have more amenities and more freedom. And you right there where you can make your money at. So you saving. Let me give you an example. When I worked at the Treasury Department, one day I did some research, right? And it took me an hour to get to work and an hour to get home on the south side every day. So that was 2 hours, right? 2 hours times 5. So it took me 10 hours a week to go to work and come back. It took me, watch this, it took me 40 hours a month. 40 hours it took me a month to get to work and go back. That's 20 days, right? 5, 10, 15, 20. Could be more, but we're just going to keep it basic. 40, right? Now, 40, right, times, right? 40 times 12, 480 hours. It took me 480 hours a year to go to work and to come back home. 480 hours, right? Now, let's say I work from 20 to 60, 40 years. So 480 a year times 40 equals 19,200 hours to go back and forth to work, right? Right? For 40 years. Right? So, if it take me 480 hours to go to work every year, if you divide that by 24, that's 20 days. If you multiply 20 days times 40, it takes 800 days for me to go, just to go to work and come back till I retire. If you divide 800 by 365, you're going to be on the bus for 2 years. For you to be in the, or on your car, if you're in rush hour there and hour back till you retire, you're going to spend 2 years just going to work and coming back. Do the math. I did that as a shorty. That's why I didn't want to work for nobody. When I realized I'm going to spend 2 years of my life just getting to work and get back home. Do the math. 2.1 to be exact. It's more than that because I only did 20 days. I only did 20 days. But you go to work more days than that. But just if you just take the basic 5 days a week to go to work and come back home till you retire, you're going to be on the bus or in your car for 2 years of your life, just going to work and coming home. Do the math and tell me I'm lying. Do the math and tell me if I'm lying. That's when I said, I can't do this. So I started working for myself because I was like, I was a baby and I was already working downtown. I was advanced. So I was already working for stock exchange. I was already working for the United States government, Treasury Department. And I did the math and I said, oh, no, I ain't going to be able to do this till I'm 65. I'm not going to be on the bus I'm not going to be able to traveling for no 2 years. So if you work downtown, you're not going to spend 2 years of your life going to work and back, because instead of an hour there and an hour back, it's going to be 10 minutes there and 10 minutes back. So look how much time you save on your life if you live right there where your job is at. Think about it. That gives you more time to do something for yourself. If I got to be to work at 9, but I ain't got to leave home till 8:50, look how much time I save. Well, if I don't live down there, I got to leave at 8 o'clock. If I get off at 5, I don't get home till 6. Down there, if I get off at 5, I'm at home at 5:10, 5:15. That makes a difference over so many years. I'm at home and back outside and you ain't even home yet. I'm at home and then cook dinner before you even get home. And in the suburbs, it's worse than that. You can't get home. Right? So in the suburbs, it's worse than that, because the suburbs, it might take you an hour and a half, 2 hours to get home in the traffic. So imagine 4 hours a day getting to work and back. So that's why they trying to leave the suburbs and they trying to move downtown. And when they try to move downtown, then the business from downtown going to expand to the little neighborhoods out there. So if you buy commercial property in Chicago, anywhere from the 30s, from 31st Street, right, to downtown, and from downtown to Belmont, which is equal to 30th North. So anywhere from 3200 North to 32nd Street South, because South is 32nd Street, North is 3200. So in Chicago, one side is street, the other one is 100. Anywhere in that radius, you're going to get rich, because that's where everybody going to be living. You going to get rich if you own commercial property in these big cities. Okay? Anywhere from 32 blocks north to 32 blocks south, and that 32 blocks east and 32 blocks west. We don't got no east because we on the lake. But if you anywhere in that radius, you're going to get rich. Commercial property is going to be popping because they're going to need more cleaners. They're going to need more liquor stores. They're going to need more exercise places. They're going to need a lot of businesses because the future of America is everybody going to move downtown or close to downtown. And the boondocks is going to be dead. Ain't nobody going to be out there. Ain't nobody going to be out there. Nobody going to want to live out there. Everybody's going to want to come to the nucleus of the city where they can get money, where you got more opportunity to make money. So if you're trying to invest in some commercial property as close as you can get it to downtown. Houses and residential property is going to flop. The future is apartment buildings and condos. Right. He said property in general worth money. He said house in California costs $180,000, now worth $800,000. But what he's not telling you is nobody gonna buy that $800,000 house, and the bottom gonna fall out the market. Because if you look what he's saying 180,000 house is now worth 800,000, but people money haven't increased like that. So if the money ain't increased the same as the houses, the housing market gonna crash. So they say it's worth 800,000, but it's not, and ain't nobody got the money. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't listen to that. The housing market gonna crash because the rate that they increased the houses, they didn't increase the salaries. The Americans ain't making the price that the property houses is going up. The price of houses went up, but the wages didn't go up that high. That's why I'm telling you, don't listen to people telling you about houses. They don't know what the hell they talking about. Don't listen to that. Listen to me. Don't listen to nobody tell you you're going to lose your money because they didn't inflate it, the price of the houses, but they didn't inflate the salaries. And nobody going to get them no $800,000 for no damn house in California and pay them high property taxes. All them people going to move to Arizona. And California going to be raggedy just like it is. California is a hellhole and raggedy. From the Bay Area down to LA. California is all trash. And now that they had them fires, California's done. That's what I'm telling them, Chris. It's going to crash. Look, y'all, I can prove it. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Look. What did it say? What did it say? Michael Jordan's mansion in Highland Park, Illinois sold for $9.5 million in December. After 12 years on the market, the sale price was a significant discount from the original asking price at $29 million. They had to drop Jordan House from $29 million down to $9.5 million. They took $20 million off. Which is what I'm telling y'all. That house ain't worth nothing. Because nobody made the money that fit the estimate of the house. So they estimated that the house was worth $29 million, but the people ain't got $29 million. So it don't matter what you estimate the price of the property's worth if the economy and the wages don't match. And that's what's finna happen all across this country. What they charging, they ain't gonna get it. What they charging, they not gonna get it. Right? So okay, let me explain it like this. Let's say you got a job and you making good money. You're making $45 an hour. And there's a house that's worth $2 million. And in 5 years, you're making $50 an hour. But the house is worth $10 million. So you got to your money didn't double, it went up $10, but the house went up way more. And so you ain't gonna be able to buy it. Because your money going up a tenth, but the property going up 5 times the price, and yours only went up a tenth of the price, and theirs went up 5 times or 10 times. Your money didn't go up 10 times. Your money just went up a tenth. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on all over this country. That what they want to charge, but the people don't have the money. And so y'all living in a fake world where everybody want to pretend they got the money, but they broke. So everybody wants to wear designer clothes, but they ain't got no money. They fronting. They fronting in the country now more than they ever fronted. And you got people that's making a lot of money, but guess how much money they got going out? So they just keep telling you how much they make. They tell you how much Floyd made. They tell you how much Rick Ross made, but they don't tell you how much money going back out. So then they don't tell you why Rick Ross sold Wingstop. They don't tell you why Floyd was stuck in Dubai. They don't show you all Floyd's cars no more. That he had parked all them cars. You understand? Because the property value went up like this and the salary only went up like that. A lot of young NBA players, they buying little 3-bedroom houses and plain cars. I'm telling you, they estimate on what to buy did not match what the people getting. And you say, well, Pharaoh, you got the rich people. The rich people get the money from the middle class people. And if the middle class people ain't got no money, they can't spend it with the rich people. So the rich people money decline because you got so many bills. And if the money don't keep coming in, it starts to eat your bills away. So if I'm rich, I'm a multimillionaire. My bills is $300,000 a year. I'm making $3 million a year. My bills is $300,000. If my bills drop to $500,000, but I gotta pay three of that, and I only got $200,000 to play with all the other miscellaneous expenses, I'm basically broke. Basically, these people are broke. They value when you go to Forbes now, they telling you they estimate worth. They estimated worth. Estimate how much they probably gonna make. They broke. They broke. Open your eyes and see people that work and you're thinking, why is he still working? How much money Kanye really got? Not what they told you. That with that chick he with, he look broke. He don't look like he with a broke chick trying to look like they got money. That chick broke down. That chick ain't that. I'm trying to tell him, Daryl. Who's the real one making all the money? The federal government. The federal government making all the money. What happens, Lanthony, is if everybody's overexpending and everybody's overextending themselves, when you pass the money up, the money go to the next person that's going broke, and then the next person that's going broke, and then the next person that's going broke. So it's like a bottomless pit. Because the money you passing it up to, the people you pass up to, they hurting. That's how you have an economical collapse. Because the people at the top go broke because, yeah, they have a lot of money, but they be throwing out a lot of money. And soon as something don't go wrong, them trillions is gone. Gone. I don't care how much money you got. When you up there and you got them type of expenses, if that money stop, you go broke quickly. You go broker quicker with a lot of money than you do when you middle class. You go broke extremely fast. Brothers be out here hustling, slinging, making money. As soon as the drought comes, they all be broke. My daddy told it to me like this. He said, you rich. He said, you got money and you spending money and you putting money into the system and the money moving like that. And then my daddy said, then you get to a point where you stop, you quit and you stop working, right? But he said, when you stop, he said, the money that you've been putting out, it keeps spending. So let's say my money's spending like this. This the money I'm putting out and my money coming in. Now, let's say I stop having money coming in. Then the money spent like that and go, you're in debt. That's what my daddy told me. My daddy said all these celebrities, They be spending their money like this. And then when they not making no more money, the debt still rolling. And then when it stop, oh, you're $500,000 in a hole. And he said, that's why, he used to tell me, he said, that's why you see Sammy Davis Jr., all them doing commercials. That's why you see these rich people still be doing commercials, still got to do movies, because they be broke. My daddy told me, like, look at Rick Ross. My daddy said, boy, if you buy a $2 million house, it's going to cost you $500,000 to maintain. He said, guess how much it's going to cost to keep the grass cut? My dad used to break it down. He said, you see that big old mansion? You see all that property? He said, how much you think landscaping costs him? And he said, you think that man figured out landscaping for 10 years if his money get funny? No. So now Rick Ross stopped making money, the landscaping, and all the work it take to maintain that mansion, he ain't got it. He ain't got that money. Birdman, remember Birdman lost his mansion, remember? Birdman had made all that money. He lost the mansion. These are facts. Anybody can tell you from the lowest hustler. You got to ask the drug dealer in the neighborhood. Ask him. No matter how many birds he saw, how much he got, that money be gone just like that if anything stopped. Most of my friends that was ballers had a lot of money, is flat ass broke. Listen, they had a lot of property, right? They stopped hustling or something happened. But guess what? They still got to pay them property taxes. And now the 18,000 here, the 15,000 there, the 20,000 there for property taxes 2 or 3 years in a row, broke. Nobody want to buy the property. But in their mind, they got this property. Oh, I could sell it. Right. Let's see. Because they couldn't sell Michael Jordan's house. They had to drop the price from 29 million to 9 million. Nobody took them 20 years to sell his house because don't nobody want it. Don't nobody want it. Young people, listen to me. When you go buy the Rolex watch, it ain't worth shit. Nobody else wants it. You can't get nothing for it. Nobody wants it. Nobody. When you go buy the Bentley, let's say you pay $100,000 for a Bentley. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's only 80. It's only 80,000 or less. As soon as you leave, it dropped right then. If you drive around the block and bring it back, if you pay $100,000 for a car and you drive around the block and bring it back, you cannot get $100,000 for it. You probably could get 70, 30 gone. Just like that. It's gone. It's gone. Warren Buffett net worth $100 million and he pulled money out the stock market. And Warren Buffett live in a little house, drive a plane car and all that. He don't do none of that extravagant shit. Do you like to eat artificial additives in your food? Most people say no. but we got artificial intelligence. I don't eat artificial nothing. I've been plant-based vegan for 47 years. And artificial intelligence is what it is. I let Babylon do what Babylon do, and Jah do what Jah do. So I don't care nothing about artificial intelligence. I got real intelligence. So artificial intelligence don't matter to me. What two products sustain their value? Sound investment. Which two products you talking about? Always remember, Mr. Mind Over Matter, nothing keeps its value if the people ain't got no money. Y'all ain't getting what I'm saying. There's no value for nothing if can't nobody afford it. They lying to y'all. Value is only based on affordability. No affordability, this shit ain't worth nothing. If you selling watermelons for $10, but everybody only got $4, your watermelon ain't worth no $10. Rolex ain't worth shit if you ain't got the money. Or Rolls Royce. I know I'm talking over y'all head. Value is only based on the availability of the cash. If the money's not, the money you got determines the value, not the product. I don't know what everybody else teaching y'all, but I'm the realest alive. Value is determined on how much money you got. If you ain't got no money, then shit ain't worth nothing. They making you think something got a value. Nothing has a value. Value got to be based on the availability to purchase. And if you can't purchase it, what is it worth? If a taxi ride is $20, but I only got $5, what is the taxi ride really worth? Nothing. Look, if you got a Rolls Royce, but it's a food shortage and it ain't no food, and you got a Rolls Royce, but your wife got some beans, which one I want? The Rolls Royce or the beans? If I'm starving and you got a Rolls Royce and a Rolex, and your wife got rice and beans, guess which one is the most valuable? Hey, listen. Hey, check this out, man over matter. Remember the Outer Limits in the Twilight Zone? They had a Twilight Zone where the economy had crashed, right? The economy had crashed. So it was a dude. Hey, check this out, man over matter. So he had a dude, he had a wheelbarrow, right? And he had a wheelbarrow with all his money in it because the whole world had crashed. So he was rolling his wheelbarrow and he sat his wheelbarrow down with the money in it and he went in the building real quick. And when he came back, all the money was on the ground and they took the wheelbarrow. Listen, that shit was tripped out. Listen, I swear to God, he had a wheelbarrow full of money and the world was collapsing and he was trying to protect his money. So when he turned around and went somewhere and came right back, the money was all on the ground. And they stole the wheelbarrow. They dumped the money out and took the wheelbarrow because the wheelbarrow was worth more money. The money wasn't worth nothing. I'll never forget that. I was a kid when I seen that. This is how you get knowledge when you see stuff. Even I was young too. I was probably like 10, 11, 12 years old. Twilight Zone is old. And that blew, I said, wow. that money wasn't worth nothing, but that wheelbarrow worth a fortune. So when this shit collapsed, you got a bucket. Guess how much a bucket gonna be worth? You got matches. Guess how much matches gonna be worth? You got a flashlight. Guess what that gonna be worth? And guess what a gold chain gonna be worth? Nothing. You see these people telling y'all save gold because when the economy it collapses, gold ain't gonna be worth shit. What the hell I'm gonna want with some gold? What I'm gonna do with some gold? Nobody ain't gonna take no gold. If you want food, you're gonna have to give me water for food. Not no gold. I can't eat no garlic. Nah, no. I don't want no gold. What I'm gonna do with it? Gold ain't gonna have no value. It's gonna be a shiny rock just like it was originally. The only thing gonna have value is things you can really use. Yep, I seen that one too when they put themselves in suspended animation and when they got up, gold wasn't worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, St. Marquis? That ain't gonna be worth nothing. Y'all actually living in a time where everything is getting ready to look like it's gonna collapse. But there's still some little investments you can make until everything fall. But the big investment is gonna be in terms of property. The big investment is going to be residential property. And one of your best investments that you can make, as far as like, you know, how people put money in the bank and stuff like that, that's how you should look at education for your children. So you should look at education for your children like an investment. Because if you can invest in your children and they can go make a lot of money, then you could get money from them. But see, we don't be thinking like that. You be thinking too independent. But you can't be thinking independent. You know what I'm saying? So like I put a lot of money into my youngest daughter going to college, and she's gonna be in the medical field. And when she get in the medical field and make money, I'm gonna get some of that money and invest it in something else for the family. She is an investment. She's not just an investment to just sit back and watch her do well. This I need a return on my dollar. So that's why I put education there. Invest in your children, just like you put money in the bank and stuff like that. Put it in them. And tell your son, like, I'm finna put a lot of money into you for you be a doctor. Then when you be a doctor, you just hit me back. Hit me back. So that's why I put in here commercial property and education. That's how we got to start thinking. Like I said before, I was talking to a young lady about you should have some babies. And she said, what you mean? I said, babies is money. She said, no, babies cost a lot of money. How is babies money? I said, LeBron James. She said, oh, hell yeah, his mama doing real well. I'm telling you. If you thought like that, you would stop letting your kid be a gang member. You'll stop letting your kid be a dumbass. And you'll start saying, okay, son, you got to go make something out yourself. This is an investment for the family. I'm saying cash is king right now. Before that collapse, that's why, Daryl, they go into a cashless society. Because now what they want to do, once you realize what I'm telling you, then what they're going to want to do is take the cash and go digital. And they want to put you on a digital system. Then once they put you on a digital system, they could dock you and all that. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. The basis of this conversation was residential property versus commercial property. So I'm trying to let y'all know that all of these money gurus keep telling you to buy residential property, keep telling you to buy property to rent out and all of that. I'm telling you, get commercial property. This is why they don't talk to black people about commercial property. They only talk to us about residential property. When you drive through your neighborhood, when you drive through your city, and you get to them little areas that got the Starbucks and the cleaners, look at that commercial property, and think to yourself, how much money are they making? Commercial property. And I want to talk about this because nobody talks to a black audience about commercial property. All of the gurus that be telling you invest, they only be talking about residential property. Get this apartment building and fix it up. Get this house and flip it. Meanwhile, the Europeans is owning commercial property. You can get you some commercial property that's downstairs with 4 apartments upstairs. You can put like a T-Mobile or a Starbucks down there. They gonna stay open for 20 years, 10 years. That's for show rent. Then you got 4 apartments upstairs. You put 3 people in there and your apartment is free. You buy one of them in Chicago, one of them in LA, one of them in Miami. You got 3 apartments. You getting rent from 3 buildings upstairs, and you getting rent from your Starbucks that's here, your T-Mobile that's there, your other business that's there. You getting free, you get money. Then they be having signage. Guess how much they pay you for these signs on top of these buildings? You get paid big money for these signs on top of these buildings. When you drive to your community, look, just look. Look how many signs you're going to see on top of buildings. I'm going to find a picture of one and show you. Like when you be driving through these communities. They're making a lot of money for that. You make a lot of money if you got that kind of building and you let them advertise on top of your building. Look, I got to search 1,000 because they don't be wanting to show you this, and you got to put the right thing in there to know. But I know when I be driving around Chicago, like you'll go to a certain corner and you'll see the sign up. You'll see the sign. On top of the building. And it don't be their building. It just be some commercial building. It'll usually be on a corner. It'll be the building on a corner. And then they'll post a sign on top of the building. They make a lot of money for that. In some cases, they got those big old electrical things on the building, which I wouldn't do that because all that radiation and all that is going on. Man, you got to always try to figure out what to type in here. But they make a lot of money from that too, where you have a building and these corporations will pay you to put a sign on your building. So a lot of times if you get some commercial property, especially a corner spot, you make money. You make money. I just wanted to share that with y'all because nobody never really talked to us about that, and I just thought it was suspicious. I just thought it was suspicious that everybody talk every time people talk about uh business with Black Americans, it's always residential, residential, residential. Then when I go drive around through these neighborhoods, I see all this commercial, commercial, commercial property. And I'm like, why are we being stirred away from commercial property? I don't know. But it's suspicious to me. I ain't gonna lie. It's suspicious to me. It's like it's a game they don't want us to know. You know, and I just be driving, I'll be looking at all these buildings, and I'm like, these people got these buildings, and these buildings making a lot of money. Like these Asians and stuff, they'll come into our community, they'll buy these buildings, and they'll have all these stores in these buildings, and they'll be charging rent. And nobody really pays attention to it. It'd be like going under the radar. And they everywhere. But it's like if you don't really pay attention, you ain't gonna realize it. Because when we drive by, we just be looking at the stores. We be looking at the stores. We don't be looking at the building. And it'll be like a lot of different stores, but all those stores will be on one building, right? And you're saying to yourself, and when you think about it, you're like, wait a minute. That building got all them people paying to be in that building. Think about it. Look, I'm going to show you the perfect example right now. Now, look at this and tell me if you see what I see, if I'm just tripping. Y'all think I'm tripping? I just felt like I don't never hear this conversation. And I'll be on Instagram and stuff, and all the money gurus be over there. Hey, I'm going to show you how to get money. But like, nobody never say nothing about this, which I think is suspicious. Watch this picture right here and tell me if I'm lying. If you live in a Black community or whatever, you see this all the time. And we don't really be paying no attention. Yeah, baby Lane, look. So now when I'm driving down the street, I see Kim's Beauty, I see Fashionista, I see all that. But this whole beige building, how much they making? Then look at the building next to them. Same thing. I think this is in New Jersey. And then what's upstairs? Look right here, it say Felice upstairs. Yeah. Now imagine if we got that and we got all them stores down there and then we got business up here or apartments up here and you could be living up there and you're going to be living for free. Look how many apartments I can have upstairs in this building. Why don't nobody never talk about that? Am I wrong? Am I tripping? Yeah, am I tripping? Cause I be driving around Chicago, I be seeing that and I be like, what's up with this here? And they everywhere, y'all. When you go back outside and you drive around, you'll see they everywhere. And we just be looking at the store. We don't never really look at the business. I'm like, well, why all these people always telling us how to get money, but ain't nobody saying nothing about this commercial property? That's why I'm talking about it. Because it's suspicious. Ain't it suspicious mind over matter? And I'll be looking at that and I'll be like, wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. So every time I hear these people talking about buying property, y'all tell me if I'm lying. They never say buy this kind of property. Never. They never talk about buying this type of property. Never. Never. They never talk about buying these type of properties. Why? And then you see this one I'm showing, and you see on the corner right there at the top, sometimes they have a big sign up there. And it'll be a sign saying some other business like Apple. Apple will have a big sign up there on the roof up there. Right there on that corner, because it's on the corner. And sometimes they'll have a big up sign. So guess how much they get paid for that big sign on the roof, on the corner. And then look, apartments upstairs. So they get rent from their apartments and they get money from the businesses. So this is what I'm saying. I could get a building like this. I can go and visit people's home to make sure you're a good tenant. I can get some really older, responsible black people to live in this one. This is probably two. There's probably four apartments, right? So I can have three tenants and downstairs and have me a free apartment. I can have me an apartment while I live up there, and I can have three other tenants live upstairs, real responsible older black people. Then I can have businesses downstairs. I can even go as far as to have me a vegan restaurant downstairs and I live upstairs. So I can have one of the businesses could be my business where my restaurant is paying money to the building and my restaurant is really paying my rent with the other 2 or 3 businesses I got in the building. So I'm living for free and I'm making money with my restaurant. And when I get up and go to work, I ain't got to do nothing but go downstairs. I ain't got to do nothing but go downstairs to go to work. And if I work hard, I can have T-Mobile in there, or I can have a Starbucks in there. I can have some big ballers in there paying some serious money. And I'm like, why don't nobody never tell black people that? Obviously, the Indians know, the Asians know, the Arabs know, the Greeks and the different whites know. Why black folks don't know? You don't never see no black people talking about getting none of these buildings. I ain't never seen nobody say it. And I'm watching everybody. I'm watching all these money gurus. They always buying houses. They always refurbishing apartment buildings. You know what I'm saying? Every time you see somebody telling us about investing in property, it's always homes. It's always apartment buildings. But they don't. But never commercial property. Which I get one of these Chicago, one in LA, one in Miami. I got 3 apartments for free. And I'm making how much money? So when I fly to LA, I don't got to get no hotel. I just go to my room, go to my apartment. Now this is what we got it, okay? And that's in Chicago. So if you own that building, you're sitting on some serious money, because a company might come and say, we want to buy this whole building and tear it down because we want to build this right here. So that could be 2-3 million. That's called mixed use commercial and residential real estate. That's what we need to be getting. But not only is you getting the commercial and residential real estate, you got the property that in a major city that might be worth how much? How much if you could own that building? How much they might want to buy that building from you and tear it down? They're like, well, we upgrading the neighborhood and we want to buy that building because we finna put some serious shit on this corner. So how much you looking at? If they come in there and want to buy that building, then you can solicit signage on top of the building and make how much money? Advertising for how many different companies? And nobody never talk about that. So I start saying, because I'm getting ready to get into some property once I get through with this book. But I ain't buying no damn residential property. I'm trying to buy me some property like this. I don't want no residential property unless it's upstairs over some commercial property. Because if I got the availability to have 3-4 stores downstairs, I could use my entrepreneurial skills. I ain't got to worry about struggling with my business. I got 3 other businesses and tenants planned. And so now I could work on my business. Yeah, you could put a massive billboard on the roof. They'd be on there, which is more money. And then you can have a store where you dare to work your store without going nowhere. So I can have a bomb vegan restaurant down there on the side where the either where that orange sign is, that with the business start with an S, or even down the other side where it say Grand Food Market. I can have a vegan restaurant right there and get paid in full. If I really want to get crazy, I could put 3 businesses down there myself if I really want to jump out the window. So I can have a vegan restaurant there. I can have a store there selling food. So I can have a grocery store on the one on the corner. And then I can have another popping business on the other side and just get all the money. I can open up a whole healthy section right there and get paid. I can have it where you can get your plant-based food all the way on the right next to the blue thing. I can have it right there where you can come get your vegetables and fruits and all that. All the people around there cooking stuff. You need onions, you need sweet potatoes. All I got that right there. It'll stay packed. Then on the one with the S, I could bring in Styles. I could bring in Jada Kiss and put Jada Kiss coffee there. I could be like, Jada, I got a spot for your, because Jada got coffee. So I could holler at Kiss and be like, man, I want you to put the coffee shop right here. I want you to put the coffee shop right here. Let's get some Starbucks money. I'm just saying. I just wanted to drop that by y'all because it's been frustrating me for a few years now. And I'm like, why ain't nobody be talking? And I'm like, I'm finna get commercial property. I'm finna get commercial property. And the day we just end up going in that direction on my last live stream. So I said, let's just have a whole live stream on this and education. Because you could take that money, the Italians and everybody came up because they took money and they sent their sons to law school, to medical school, and that money came back and built the family. That's how they got Robert Kennedy and John Kennedy. They put their money into education, business, and education. And dominance over what you're telling your children to go to school to be. Something I wish I would have knew with all my children. I didn't really pick up that vibe until I got to the last child. I was just sending them to school as long as they was getting good grades and getting out, and then they decide where they want to go. I shouldn't have did that. I should have directed them what to be. You know what I'm saying? I should have directed them what to be. So with the last one, we taught her go into medical, and we directed her right into medical. That's another lesson learned. And then I think about the old gangster pictures. They tell their son, you're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a banker, or you're going to be a doctor. And they stand on that. We got to bring that back too. We can't let these children make up their mind. They don't know what they want. They don't know what's best for them. We're going to have to start getting these children and be like, which one you want to be? A lawyer or a doctor or a nurse? That's the 3 choices you got. And unless they can talk you into something that's getting some money and make some sense and they really driven, but a lot of times our children is like, kind of like loosey-goosey, then we're going to have to stand on business. So that's all I want to talk about that. I just wanted to put that out in the universe so young people could watch my think. Hey, start looking at some of this commercial property. Y'all up there in Detroit, go get that commercial property. Detroit finna boom. I'm finna be up in Detroit in about 3 weeks because I'm going to be looking on some investment in Detroit. I should have been investing in Detroit like 5 years ago when they was getting rid of houses and stuff for $200 and stuff. But now it's probably hard to get in there. But I'm gonna go see. Gary they is the same way, but Gary I think is toxic. You could do that too. You could do that too, Daryl. You could do that too. That's what you're gonna be looking at when you're in the neighborhood to get the building. You're gonna be trying to look to see what the residents in the neighborhood is on. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be looking at, heck yeah. You're gonna be looking at who live over there and what you could sell. That's gonna determine which building you're gonna get. Because you have to get a building in the area where there's gonna be business. You could get a building in the area where it just ain't no business in that area. So you have to get it in an area where it's business. But if you do get it, and you have to get in an area where there's a lot of driving traffic, it's going to be worth paying a little more for that traffic. Because if you got that traffic, now all you got to do is get them to stop and come into place. But if you ain't got no traffic, you got to try to get them to even come over to the place. But if you already got traffic, at least you don't have to get nobody to come over to that area. It's people already over there. Now you can spend all your time persuading them to park and come in there, driving by and look and say, "Ooh, I need to go in there." But this where we need to go, uh, FBA. This is where we need to go. This is the direction we need to go. Seriously. This is the direction we need to go when it comes to business. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get in a good area. Because like in a place like Chicago, people don't want to drive. They're not going to drive out their way unless you got a serious specialty item. So there's so many buildings, and there's buildings right where people driving already. You ain't gonna open no building where ain't nobody driving when there's a building right here that got mad traffic, and this building just sitting here. So you want to go where traffic is at already, and the type of traffic that you feel like businesses will find to be interested in getting it too, because you're gonna buy the building for other businesses to come. So you got to think about them. If somebody open up something here, is this gonna be the area where they would want to open it up at? And then if you could be somewhere in a neighborhood, like for Black Americans, and the neighborhood is really, a area that need development, but it's a lot of Black people there, you can even get a group to buy that building, and then you can get some people to buy the building next to it, and then you could really uplift the whole area in the city. Why can't we gentrify our own neighborhood? Now, we need to gentrify our own neighborhoods. You feel me? So that's all I got to say about that. Y'all think about it. Send this video to everybody. See who else thinking about something like this. All right? Victory.